Welcome everyone to This is a Revolution, your weekly RevPro podcast here on Commute Wrestling. I'm George, joined as always by my good friend, Mr. Dave the Mark. Dave, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, mate. I'm good. I'm looking forward to a trip to London for RevPro this afternoon.
Yeah, nice.
How
Yeah,
you doing, my friend?
good. Yeah, we are recording this as it stands at 8:51 a.m. on Sunday morning, and yeah, it's I'm a little bit tired, mate. I'm not gonna lie, like a little bit tired being up at this time recording in the morning, but hey, we are where we are. The lighting's not very good in here today because it's dull outside. I've got my office light on 100% and all of this stuff going up. It hides the crap in the background, mate. But sadly, I will not be joining you today, my friend. I will not be joining you. I am heading to the 1865 today. So I feel like
Who are you going to see?
I'm going to see Wheatus. Gonna be a bit of a teenage dirtbag this afternoon, mate.
Oh, mate, you
Yeah.
crack me up.
My the
Enjoy. Wheatus in the 1865. That
yeah
is
yeah they're playing their
in 2025.
in the big 2025, as the kids would say, mate. In the big
Okay, so
2025.
go on. What was your on your Spotify Wrapped? What was your listening age,
My list age was 37.
mate? That's not bad. That's not bad.
4 years younger, mate. I'll take it.
Yeah.
What was
That's the
yours?
I was 31, so I was delighted because that's 7 years younger. But it's so caveated by the fact that it's like, Nick Cave brought out an album last year.
Mm-hmm.
The Cure brought out an album last year. Like Bon Iver brought out an album this year. So you've got these kind of like old dudes singing grumpy middle-aged man songs. They just happen to be new ones rather than old ones.
Yeah.
So I took it. I'll get punished next year. My age will go back up.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about this listening age thing. Like, I've got one friend, she's mid 30s, and hers was 19 because she's
19.
constantly finding out like all the new metal bands that are coming through. So
Oh
constantly,
yeah.
it's just like 19 hers. But yeah, I wasn't. You know what? My reps wasn't too bad this year. It was pretty much everything I knew. It's funny because my second biggest song on there by a band called Marmosets, and they've been away for 8 years. Like I went to Cardiff to see them earlier this week. They were insane, mate, insane. Um, but their new song, the first one in 8 years, came out 5th of November, so just over a month ago.
Oh shit.
And I think I've
And it's
listened.
already your second most listened to song of the year.
I listen to. I'm not even joking. I called Stats FM, which if you love your stats, if anyone loves their stats, I recommend getting that because it's so much better than Wrapped. I've listened to it 182 times this year.
Wow.
Yeah, hyper
I didn't have
focus.
I didn't have a single song that was over 100 times. Nutshell by Alice in Chains was my most listened to, and it was like 97 times.
My top song is something like 350.
What was your hours?
My hour, so I think it was like 37,000 minutes.
That's it. Sorry, minutes, not
Yeah.
hours, isn't it?
So
Yeah.
somewhere between 35,000 and 37,000 minutes, I think.
Interesting. So your minutes are about half of my minutes, but your most listened to is like treble mine.
Yeah, so I get really hyper focused. If I get into a song, I'm into a song and I listen to it until I
Yeah.
wear it out. Like that's what I'm like, and I know that. So yeah, like that, like I said, 182 times I think it is as it stands. By the end of this year, it'll be up to 200, no doubt.
Nice. Happy
But
days, mate.
hey, yeah, Spotify Wrapped. But mate, I was a bit disappointed in you. I saw your Wrapped. I was like, where is Michael Oku's theme? Where is Osprey's theme? Where is RKJ and JJ Gale?
I don't think I've ever listened to a wrestling theme as a song ever. Any song by
Okay.
anyone. Like the closest I got was when Chris Benoit had Whatever by Our Lady Peace.
Mhm.
Because I liked that band in like 2002 anyway, so I
Yeah.
listened to them, and that's it. Oh, and I suppose Where Is My Mind, Pixies, Orange Cassidy. Like,
But
but then you're taking
that's not a
like one of
wrestling
my
thing.
favourite songs ever.
That's it. that's a song that became a wrestling theme, and I think I'm the same
Yeah,
as
yeah,
you a
yeah,
lot of the time.
exactly, right.
I've got like I've got two things that I like wrestling themes for, right? Sometimes I like it because it's cool, but then it just literally repeats the same thing 3 or 4 times. Nature of obviously what a wrestling theme is designed to do.
Yeah,
So I just generally don't listen to them, and like, or I might have one on at the gym because it takes an interesting structure throughout it and goes, it's still the same thing, but changes differently and gives me like a good pump up at the gym. Um, if there's one wrestling team that I can say, like if you ever go and work out, and I never ever thought it would be so good for it, but Anna Jay's AW theme, I forget what it's called. I think it's called The Show's About to Start or something like that. It's the the progression it takes through and the music, like it's enough to keep your brain
yeah.
really interested, but it's like really high tempo. Like I never ever realized that would be one of my like top gym songs, but yeah, it is. But yeah, other than that, like Michael Oku's song, I like his because it's a proper song that's been repurposed into a wrestling song. But
Yeah.
other songs, yeah, I'm just like, no, no.
Although I will say that Alistair Black, Malachi Black got me into both Amenra through his AEW theme and like the name's literally gone out of my head. His old WWE theme,
Hmm.
like massive metal band, one word name, have an album called Zolgeist. Yeah, gone out of my head, but like got me kind of like intrigued into them, but really got me into Amenra. Like I listen to Amenra a lot, and I always go back to TJP and Robbie Eagles, who have got absolute bangers out in New Japan as their
Yeah,
themes. Like proper, again, like proper songs by proper bands,
yeah.
as opposed to a wrestling thing.
Are you thinking of Incendiary? Is that who you're thinking of?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Incendiary. Yeah,
I've
yeah, yeah.
I've got my Spotify loaded here. But yeah, so Dave, you know what? Before we get into it, I'm gonna ask you a question, mate. Right? I'm gonna ask you a question. If you were a wrestler, what would be your theme song?
Oh.
I was having this conversation with a friend the other day, and we were talking about like what would your theme song be? And I've got a song that I'm not sure about my theme, but there's one that I really love. If I was running a company, I would use as the theme song for the actual show. I don't know if I actually have one for entrance though.
You know, like Chris Ridgway has like the really long intro.
Yeah,
I think that would work really, really well for Rain When I Die by Alice in Chains.
nice.
Because
Yeah.
it's got a really, really cool, like, out there kind of intro. And then when it kicks, like, it proper kicks. And that would be a really cool entrance. But I don't know. I always kind of imagine myself if I was going to be a wrestler. I think I don't think I'd be able to take it seriously. So I think I'd be like a really like for someone who loves proper pure wrestling. I think I'd be a comedy character.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think I'd be like like Davey or something like that. And I'd come out and be like a kind of a parody of a wrestler,
Nice.
a bit of a Mad Kurt or a Grado or something like that. Just because I can't. I don't know. I'd be terrible at it. I'd be a terrible wrestler. I've got no coordination. I'm clumsy. I can't dance. I can't clap to a tune. Like, I'd be horrific at it.
Oh mate, I'm just getting a song in my head. I don't know. Oh, yeah, where's the yeah? So this song that I just know it from The Simpsons, and I think it's by the band War. It's called "Why Can't We Be Friends?"
That sounds the sort of thing I'd like.
Yeah, and it's just like, why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?
Yeah.
And yeah, that could be your
Mate,
entrance music.
I can tell we're going to be friends by the White Stripes. Me coming out like, I can tell that we are going to be friends.
Yeah,
And me just
yeah.
walking
So
around like shaking
yeah.
everyone's hand, like trying to hug the wrestlers. Be like, yeah.
Oh mate.
I also have this theory, like, and I'm sure someone must have done it, but why is there not a comedy wrestler out there whose finishing move is trying to tickle his opponents into submission? Because this is literally like when me and the kids have like pretend little wrestling matches. That's literally how I try and get them. I try and tickle them into submitting,
I'm
which is
not gonna,
probably
yeah.
like you'd have to be a bit careful not for it to not get a bit cringy. a bit.
Well, to be fair, Dave, before you just said that, I'm going to tell you what I was going to say, right? And then you said what you said. I was like, fuck, I can't say this now. But I'm going
Sounds
to
a
say it
little
anyway.
bit Joey Ryan, doesn't it?
I was going to say, sounds a bit sex pest, Dave. Yeah, not going to lie, mate.
Yeah.
Like,
in my head, it
it's,
absolutely would not be.
it's wholesome. Your head is wholesome.
Yeah,
but
wholesome.
Yeah.
Speaking, wholesome from the guy who just bought tickets to go and see Mega Slam Wrestling.
Mate, I love that. I love it. Like, I get that one come across. This is how picky I can be, right? Because I have, within a 5-minute walk, I have theatre that does ASW and a leisure centre literally across the road from it that does Mega Slam Wrestling. I can afford to be picky on my local wrestling. So, like,
mate, this is it. Like, we, so I'm in Sharnbrook, which is a really small little village north of Bedford and south of Rushden. And there's a little leisure centre in Rushden that's going to host Mega Slam next year. And it's a Saturday night, so pretty safe to say there'll be no RevPro on that night. And to be fair, if RevPro book a show for that night, I'll just won't go to Mega Slam. I'll give my tickets away.
Yeah.
The tickets were £5 each. So I bought a ticket for me and a ticket for Phoebe. And I looked at it and was just like, what's the worst that's going to happen? We're going to go and watch some wrestling that's not really my cup of tea. But Phoebe's will have a right laugh because she enjoys all of it. I'll have a laugh. And, you look at people, I might get to go and see Martin Kirby live. I've never seen Martin Kirby live. And for me, him, Joel Redman, people like that, they're like the OG Rev Pro cast from the first Rev Pro show. So it's a bit of like a little bucket list one for me.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking forward to my weekend in Cardiff next weekend.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be great.
Going to do Attack Saturday morning and Chaos in Bristol Saturday night before going to Rev on Sunday.
Yeah, I love that, mate. Love it. You'll love Yate. Yate is a great little place. So, like, when you get to direct your sat nav to Yate Leisure Centre, and you go in, right? So you come into you turn right into it, and then you've got a left and a right. Go left and into that little car park there. That's the leisure centre. So you park there, and then I think that's paid parking up till 6 o'clock. Then free afterwards. Then you come round the right hand side. And it's literally a little town centre, kind of like Stevenage. What Stevenage is like. Imagine that, but imagine that on a quarter of the scale, right? So you go up, down. So you've got one end, you've got the leisure centre. The other end, you've got a Wetherspoons. Then you've got shops around it, and it's sorted, mate. Love
that.
I love it, and Leisure Centre is such a nice little venue for wrestling as well.
Yeah, just little things like I'm going to get to see Nixon Newell for the first time at Attack. I get 2 Rain Leverkusen matches in one day, including a 30-minute Iron Woman match. You've
got the Danny Luna match, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah. Danny Luna versus Leon Cade.
Mate, I can't wait for that.
And Kanji versus Jay Joshua, which I know they've done, was it Ceasefire that they did that?
Resurgence, I know they've definitely done it. They might well have done it Ceasefire as well. I don't know. I don't really keep...
But for me, it's just kind of I don't really do just going to watch a cool wrestling show where I don't really know anything that's going on. But Cardiff's a bloody long way away from where I live. So...
Yeah.
If I'm going to go, and my brother-in-law lives there, so I'm going to kip at his house the night before. So it's if I'm going to be there and there's this stuff on, might as well go and check it out. I get to see people like Shane Hook and Tommy Vril, who not only do I really enjoy watching, but I really enjoyed kind of getting to know when I filmed them at the Spinebuster taping that I helped out with. There's just. And I got my Chaos ticket for a tenner.
Yeah, Chaos is such amazing value. It really is.
Silly prices. And I know I'm always banging on about how good a value RevPro is, and I absolutely stand by it. I do think it's great value. I think any kind of night out you can get for 20, 25 quid, bearing in mind how much it costs to go and get a Nando's or go and get a Pizza Hut or something that's just not even considered much of a treat, is bloody great value. So I'm really looking forward to it, mate. Looking forward to getting to talk a little bit about Uprising today with you as well. Bit of Coventry, bit of London, bit of everything. RevPro. It's been a couple of weeks, hasn't it?
It has, mate. It has. Now, obviously we've had things going on, and we managed to look at schedules and we'll try to work things out. Dave, you double booked yourself last time. Can you tell the
I
people
did.
people what you managed to double book yourself with?
My missus' birthday. We had it all sorted, didn't we? We were like, yeah, Wednesday night. We'll record Wednesday night, and then well, I don't think it was the day before. It might have been the day before the day before. But I
It
was
was
like, shit,
something
mate,
like that, yeah.
it's Emily's birthday on Wednesday. Like, I hadn't forgotten her birthday.
You
Like,
just
I'd had
had
it
to
all
put
sorted. I'd
yeah,
had it all arranged. I just didn't process in my head that they were both the same day.
yeah,
So then we were going to do a midweek one this week, didn't we? But then you had loads going on with work,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. It's
life.
life happens, doesn't it, mate? But it means we can get here on this morning and we can just talk about what's been happening. So Coventry, let's do a little bit on that. Like we don't want,
Yeah.
we're not going to go and do a whole in-depth review on that because look, people have had time to digest that. But you know what? Let's run through the card, and I'm just going to move this onto this screen here so I can see it. Maybe Dave, what we could do is we could give like a one sentence or a little bit more if you've got it, because yeah. Let's
I can do
start.
one sentence. I like that challenge.
Yeah, let's start. Young Guns versus Rising Tide.
Really, really good showcase for Rising Tide, whilst also putting Young Guns over as like the dominant champions.
Yeah, I would agree.
Really enjoyed it.
Rising love. Yeah, great match. Rising Tide looked great. Let's have more of them, please.
Interesting little tidbit. Emily came, so we did. The wife and I did shopping in Birmingham on the Sunday, like morning lunchtime. Then we went to Coventry together. First time she's ever seen Ethan Allen,
Mhm.
and like afterwards, she was just like, "He's class, isn't he? Like,
Yeah, he's so good.
absolutely awesome."
Yeah.
Like, because I think she kind of went in being like, "Okay, he's Luke Jacobs' tag team partner," and then afterwards, she was just like, "No, no, no! Like, they are on a par. They are equals." In fact, I think she actually enjoyed Ethan even more than Jacobs, but just for the fact that for someone that doesn't know the product as well, like
Mhm.
she keeps up with it pretty well, but more just because by proxy, by living around me,
Yeah.
she's really enjoyed how much Ethan just adds to a match with his shit talking and his presence and everything. So yeah,
Yeah.
that made me smile because I love Ethan, so I'm glad she did too.
I would agree. I had because I wasn't as familiar with Ethan and Young Guns as you were when Ethan came back. I wasn't, and I had exactly the same worry about Ethan and my connection with him. And at times, I think, do I connect with Ethan as a wrestler even more than I do with Luke? Who I would say Luke is he's one of my top five in the UK. Like I'd say probably like top two UK as it stands. So, Jay Joshua versus Shiggy.
Like really good, fun, meaty man match, which isn't really my cup of tea, but it was done well and it added something different to the card.
Yeah, it was everything I wanted it to be and everything I thought it
Yeah.
would be. The fact that these two guys are big men, but they're both very agile, that adds a lot to it.
Yeah.
David Francisco versus JJ Gale. I'm just gonna my line is I called it. But
Yeah. An over delivery for me. Because the match itself, first of all, I didn't see it coming, even though we'd talked about it and it made so much sense. But you lose yourself in the moment and you forget all of that.
Yeah,
and you just watch. And Kelly Six had been hiding in plain sight the entire show by doing contenders duty. And I thought it was really, really clever that they had a young lad from, I can't remember if he's from House of Pain or PPW, but he's a young lad who goes to the Sheffield shows and he was doing contenders work. And so it made so much sense that Kelly Six was doing it with him because he was a little bit like first day job.
Mm-hmm.
So put someone really experienced in there with him. And Kelly was taking the contenders work really seriously, like squatting down the whole time, never missing a beat in terms of getting the ring gear and stuff. And it was running so smoothly that you didn't even think about why is he here.
Yeah.
And then the Josh James bit as well, I really enjoyed. And the fact that everybody sold it perfectly. Like Kelly sold the fact that he's clearly conflicted in how he feels about this. Josh James was emphatic and a proper bully, which is exactly what he should be. Francisco, the mastermind. Like, I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Looking forward to what we see a bit today as well.
I hope that it's a bit of a hard reset for Josh, because obviously he's had, since coming back and then injured again, and he's had a very, very stop-start since separating with David and
that
obviously
ties
Shah
in so well with the story, right?
Yeah, so and that's what I want to see. With Kelly it makes sense. With Josh, it still doesn't quite make as much sense as I need it to yet. But again, we're at this stage we're at, right?
He's leaning into that.
Yeah,
because like putting out things where he's like, if you don't understand why, you've not been paying attention. I love quotes like that, because sometimes you'll be like, well, we're paying really close attention and we still don't understand why. But that's like it's like a tease that it's going to make sense. Just give it, let it play out.
That's it. Like,
and for him, like the fact that it's not canonized yet. Francisco partly canonized it in the backstage reactions, but Josh James has been fit from injury for like 6-8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Why has he not been on a RevPro show?
Yeah,
and that's what they'll make explicit now, I think.
Yeah, and look, a wrestling story is like just any regular story, right? You don't judge a book. You judge the chapters as you're going through, but you judge the book as a whole in hindsight, and that's what we'll do with this. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see where it goes. Kanji versus Miyu Yamashita. Everything I thought it'd be. Yeah, again, it was the match I had the highest of high expectations. Like, I expected to come into this for them to deliver an A+ match, and they came in and delivered an A+ match. It was glorious.
Yep, genuine match of the year contender for me.
Yeah.
And what I determine by a match of the year contender is, I'm not saying it's going to be my number one match of the year, because like I'm publicly sharing that, but it went straight into the top 10.
Yeah,
and that's given how many matches there have been this year. You know, you're talking like 370 odd matches for RevPro this calendar year. That's pretty damn impressive. My first time seeing Yamashita, and like, oh my lord, like, you know, like when you see people, like you see like Azumi, when we saw Azumi for the first time, and I'm like, oh wow, she's really cool, she's really good, I hope she gets to come back.
Yeah,
Yamashita was like that, but even more so, because it was like, oh my god, you are so my kind of wrestler. You know, like, completely coincidental, I'm wearing a Millie McKenzie t-shirt, and it was like the first time I watched Millie McKenzie, and it was like, oh my god, you could not be more to a T what I would, if I was creating my own wrestler, would be. Like, that really, like, she just got so much presence, and she's different and tells the story without saying a word. The strikes are unreal. She's different to everybody else, because you can look at it and be like, oh, okay, she wrestles like Chantel Jordan wrestles, or Chantel Jordan wrestles like she wrestles, or she wrestles like you know, like a Malachi Black, but it's so completely like legit and authentic. I know that she comes over to the UK quite a lot, and she's done loads in Eve. But if I was Andy Quilden and I'd watched that match, it would be like my Mandas when we first saw Mandas. It would be, okay, how often can we get this girl back? Like, can we make her our Leo Rush? Or, you know, do you know what I mean? Like, someone we see regularly in RevPro. When we want to bring in somebody, certainly at minimum, every time she comes over for another UK company, get on the back of that and be like, cool, Eve's using her on Friday, we'll use her on Sunday. And I know, like, you want a bit of separation between your companies, but you know, that's why you see certain wrestlers in certain companies more, because they don't want every roster to be exactly the same. But she's one where it's like, make an exception for her. She's top class. Yeah,
agreed. And look, you just mentioned her about Eve and her wrestling there. Some people may not be aware of the show that Eve are doing at the O2 Indigo in March the 8th, I think it is, on March the 8th. Miyu Yamashita is going to go in one-on-one with Jamie Hayter.
Nice.
That is going to be an absolute banger of a match. And
did they just announce, was it Statlander versus
Dakota Kai?
Dakota Kai, yes.
Yeah. I paid my £50 for just under £50 for a ticket, and already it's been paid back for me. So
100%.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I've never seen Yamashita in person either, so she's one.
Oh,
that's
really?
Yeah, because at the time when she was the Eve show she's been at, I either couldn't make, or it was at a time when I was still trying to work out price logistics and stuff like that because
Yeah.
staying over, whatnot. So I've never been able to see her live. So if I don't get to see her before then, seeing her in March is going to be amazing. But yeah, I echo your thoughts. Bring her over for RevPro. It'd be great. Leon Slater versus Robbie X.
Like, for a pairing that I've seen often together, it felt really fresh and really high level.
Yeah. Agree.
We don't often see Leon and Robbie one-on-one, but we've seen quite a few multi-mans with them in, as well as a couple of singles matches. And it's probably fresher than I realised. I'm sure when I did the preview, I actually checked how many times they'd faced, and it weren't that many. But it doesn't feel the freshest of matches, but they delivered it in a really, really good way in that sense. Leon is different now to any time we've seen him before in the ring with Robbie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Any time we've seen Robbie and Leon, Robbie's been the face, and now he's the kind of... I wouldn't even go as far as to say Robbie's a face or a heel now. I think he's like that Connor Mills, Jay Joshua, and that's kind of Bullet Club all over, isn't it? Like, they're the cool heels who organically become popular, and then they lean into it. Some days Robbie comes out and he Two Sweets fans. Some days he comes out and he flips them off. Like, you don't know what you're getting with him. Yeah, I like that. It's like old Stone Cold energy, isn't it?
The last time that they faced each other as opponents was actually June 2024 at the 229.
Yeah.
So been a while.
And it was a really hot way. I always think that the first match after the interval is really pivotal.
Yeah.
Especially in shows where there is a lot of merch happening, because you need to get people back in their seats.
Yeah.
And when you see Leon Slater and Robbie X coming out, people are going to be like, oh, fuck it, I won't keep queuing to see Yamashita. I will try and get her after the show. I'm getting back to my seat.
Yeah, agreed. Everything you said there, I feel that like you said, even though he's not a heel, Robbie is definitely not the out-and-out babyface he once was. And I think that adds so much to everything he does in the ring, and it's really freshened him up. Leon's kind of the same as well, a bit more. Yeah. So it's freshening both of these guys up, and it makes the match a bit more hard-hitting, a bit more vicious. One called Manders versus Leighton Buzzard. I like the match, but I'm intrigued to see where this is going for Buzzard, because this is two matches in now, 2 losses on the bounce, but against 2 high-level opponents.
Yeah, it's it was another Manders match, and it was another Buzzard match. Like, it was good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was. I used to listen to What Culture a lot, and Michael Sidgwick used to refer to the Gentleman's Free. It was a freestyle match. Everything about it was perfectly good. Just nothing was quite great about it. And I completely get that. Maybe if it had gone in the slot where Jay Joshua and Irie were in the first half, and the Irie and Joshua match had gone here, in hindsight, maybe it would have worked a little bit better. It just, like when you often say, don't you, on a card, for whatever reason, one match just doesn't quite land with you as much as, especially on a longer show.
Mm-hmm.
And this wasn't a tremendously long show, but it was, you still had a lot to come. You knew you had your big title match, you had your big street fight, You'd just seen the epic Kanji Yamashita match. Like, something just doesn't quite hit the same levels.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like that was this. The Buzzard storyline is an interesting one because I imagine he's going to lose to Mills again today.
Yeah,
and
I think.
keep on losing until he wins, which is fine. That's old school, like such a simple wrestling story.
Yeah.
The key for me is, what do we do with him when he does win?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like, and I feel like we need to have a long-term plan for Buzzard here, because his whole RevPro career has been a bit in bits and starts. I looked yesterday because I'm a nerd. I update how many times I've seen every wrestler live. So I updated that yesterday for today's card, and this is only my 12th Leighton Buzzard match.
Mm.
And you think he feels like he's been in RevPro for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I go to all the RevPro shows, so it should be, in my head, I thought I'd be in the 20s at least.
Yeah.
I know a couple of his matches. Actually, I don't even think it was a couple. I think one of his matches I missed in 2023 because there was a 229 I couldn't get to. But it is a little bit like he came in, did a little program, went to Japan, came back from Japan, did a program, the injury happened, came back from the injury, but then went to Japan, has come back from Japan, and I feel like we've heard Leighton Buzzard say a few times, I'm back to stay. And it's like, okay, well, if you're going to stay, you need to stay. And if you're going to stay, we need something for you to justify you being here, And that's not, I'm not being negative on Leighton Buzzard at all.
No,
He's doing what's right for his career. And also, like, I'm not being critical of the company because I'm sure they do have plans for him. I'm just curious to see where they go. And I hope that it is something interesting. I can't decide what I want Leighton Buzzard to be. I think I prefer him as a babyface to a heel.
Interesting.
But at the same time, I don't want him to be in the JJ Gale spot of the Nearly Man.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that would work for him because he is very different to JJ. JJ is very much like, pick yourself up, try again. Whereas I feel like Buzzard could be more of a kind of 3D character in the sense of like him having, because we know he's got that hillside in him, so he can play on the being drawn into the dark arts. He's got a lot of history with a lot of people. We've still, we can lean back into everything that happened with Cameron Kai. That gives him a reason to be unhappy with Liam Slater. Maybe it gives him a reason to align with Liam Slater.
Mm-hmm.
We can lean into the real life side of the fact that he does a lot of work with, he's kind of based with the New Wave Academy as his local school.
Yeah.
So we could do some stuff with the fact that, you could look at the likes of Jay Joshua on that side or Leon Cage on the face side. And I'm not saying like just put him in a tag team, but I'm saying just build those connections with people so that we can keep him being used without it necessarily having to be his own storyline.
Yeah, I'm with you. I understand.
Or put him into a program because he does work programs well. His program with Michael Oku both times was really good. So, he knows how to tell stories. He knows how to cut promos. He knows how to, if you give him a job to go out and do, he'll go out and do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just curious to see that. But I completely understand that at the moment it's kind of get through Uprising and then start again, isn't it? So
yeah.
If he's not going to be on the Uprising card, just keep this plodding along and then hit the ground in January on the build to whatever the first big show of next year is going to be.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. Look, I've said to you by text what I want to see. I want to see Leighton Buzzard, RKJ be the RevPro version of Rated RKO. Those two dickhead young guys who want the top spots, who are going to claw and fight for those top spots, but are there as a almost power tag team. I kind of
Yeah,
in my head originally, I thought of it as Stone Cold and Triple H when they were the two-man power
yeah,
trip.
yeah, yeah.
But I
I
think
remember that.
Rated RKO probably is the better comparison with those two guys clawing for the top spots. I think that could be really interesting. I think we'll play up to a lot of Buzz's strengths.
It would
Uh,
really also benefit RKJ as well, I think.
yeah, it gives us some.
Again,
Yeah,
just to have a reason to. We always talk about direction, don't we? You know, what direction are we taking RKJ in? This would give him another direction to keep him busy.
yeah,
He can lean into stuff with Buzzard. He can go without Buzzard. He can tag with Buzzard. There can be those dynamics work and relationships between wrestlers are really integral, and this would give both of them that. I like that.
and it means that they both don't have to necessarily go for singles gold. They can go for tag team as well, and it gives
Yeah, yeah.
another more across everything. Speaking of championship matches, Nino Bryant defeated Leo Rush. My thoughts on this one, really shocked at the retention. I was convinced that we were getting the title being dropped here. And it was also so much better and so much more cohesive for me than Leo's previous match against Leon Cage.
Yep, I'd agree with all of that. I thought Nino was going to win, but your kind of genuine belief that Leo was going to win created some jeopardy for me, and it was in the semi-main slot, and the Trent and Machine match had to main event because one, because of the nature of the match, two, because of the fact that it was a 6-month story.
Yeah.
So the fact that they put it on so high up and they didn't just put it in the first half like they did the Joe Lando Nino match gave me a sense of maybe it could change.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm pretty sure I know exactly where the Cruiserweight Championship is going at Uprising, in the sense that it's going to be a multi-man match with Nino. That's why we got Will Caven involved in the Revolution tag today, with Robbie X in it as well. Joe and Danny both being in the match to lean on the fact that there's some tensions within CPF. Like, whilst I feel like I've got it all figured out, we haven't had it very clearly presented to us what's going to happen at Uprising. No. But that was then like, well, maybe that's because Leo's going to win here, and then we're going to get a Leo Rush match at Uprising. So that worked really well. I enjoyed the Blackheart versus Leon Cage match much more than you did. But I also understood some of your reservations about it and some of your criticisms of it. And I agree, this one was far more cohesive. I think that's a really good word you've used there. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was very different to the main event. And that meant that the last two matches on the show gave everybody something to really enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, there were some people that literally got up to leave at the end of this match because they thought it was the main event.
Wow. Okay.
Like, genuinely, it was like, because I think it was 7:00, because this show ran later than they normally run in Coventry. So it was 7:00, which is normally the time to finish. They'd just seen a big championship match. They'd had 7 matches, and genuinely, some people got up to leave. And then when Francesca came out and said it's now time for your main event, they came shuffling back again. So that just goes to show how well it went down in the HMV Empire. So yeah, really enjoyed that.
Nice. And then the main event, Haskins and Trent versus the Machine Street Fight. I thought this was really fun. I thought, you know what, we know obviously that there's circumstances have conspired against where this story was going to go. So nice to get that, finish the story off, be it local for Trent. Haskins returning to a match at RevPro. What I found the most interesting about this, I understand completely why it was done this way, but given that this is a Trent Seven story, everything about this match was a showcase for Haskins. Everything.
Yeah.
And I just
Haskins family were the star of the show, weren't they?
I found it hilarious that every part of this seemingly, if I was watching this as someone who had never watched RevPro before, and I was told one of these guys has a big issue with this tag team, I would have believed it was Haskins with Trent coming in for support.
Yeah.
And again, that's not a criticism against anything, because when you've got someone new, what I say new coming in, he is new to a lot of people, because there'll be a lot of people who don't watch wrestling outside of when it comes to them locally. There'll be a lot of
Hmm.
people who'll click onto RevPro and don't know of all the small indies he's done and stuff like that. They'll just go, "Oh, who's this guy?" Or "I've heard of him. I've never actually seen him." So this
Yeah.
was a
They don't
really
know
good,
that like the history of him in the company or anything. Completely get that.
exactly. So
Um,
this was a really good way to bring him in. I thought it just tickled me that this was a big, massive Trent Seven, almost blood feud levels, almost,
yeah.
and it was Haskins coded the whole way round.
Yeah. It was. I completely agree with everything you said there. But I don't think it didn't, like you say, it's not criticism because it didn't do Trent any harm whatsoever.
Not at all.
Um, Trent just needed to make sure that TK and Chuck got their comeuppance.
Yeah,
So it's a strange because it's not. It was less of like a blood feud where, like, I always use this example. The Machine didn't set fire to Trent Seven's house.
no,
They didn't break into his house and look over little baby Dusty and sing lullabies to him. It weren't anything as wild as that. It was more like Trent needed to put these little piss ants in their place
yeah,
and just kept on being stopped from being able to do that.
hmm
And him and Haskins did it together.
yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, even though anyone who listens to this knows that is not my kind of wrestling at all. My wife absolutely bloody loved it. And another little tidbit, a woman I work with came
hmm
with her husband and her little boy. So they'd been to watch WWE at the O2. And then their follow-up was they went to watch LDN wrestling at Bedford Corn Exchange.
Oh wow, okay.
And she came into work on like on the Monday and was just like, "Oh, we went to watch LDN," and I was like, "I've never been. I only know of it. How was it?" And she was like, "It was great fun. Like we were so close to it. We got to see everything. Like it was, the little boy got to get involved
Yeah.
with like high fives and stuff." And I was like, "Well, if you enjoyed that, you have to come to a RevPro show because it's the intimacy of that with the quality that you got at the O2." And she was like, "Well, when are they next anywhere near Bedford?" And she said, "But we don't mind. We don't mind travelling an hour to go and watch it." And I said, "Well, they're in Coventry next weekend." And she was like, "Cool, we're going to go. Send me the link to the tickets." And they came and they actually absolutely loved it. She was like jumping up and down out of her seat more than her little boy was. And they all absolutely loved it. I think they'll be Coventry regulars now for RevPro.
I love that.
But yeah, like it's funny because I was watching it and I was like, what more do they need to do for this match to be qualified as a death match? Like, like the TNT stuff that they do.
Yeah.
And it's like, because I consider myself, I've never seen a death match. I've never been to a wrestling show that has a death match on it.
I have.
But this was like the skewers into the head and stuff. And you're like, oh my God, this is proper gross. And I think they probably would need to take it up another notch for it to qualify as a death match. And I'm glad they didn't because it didn't need to be. But it was right on the edge for me of like, oh no, I don't like this. I don't want to see people actually getting hurt. But it was great fun.
It was a very sanitized version of a death match, and
Yeah.
that's the right sort of thing for the crowd that they've got as well. Which, yeah, it was good.
100%.
Yeah.
There were little boys and girls sitting there that were like Phoebe and Sophie and Isaac's age, like.
Yeah.
And my kids are pretty tough kids when it comes to blood and guts and swearing and wrestling stuff because I'm their dad. But even then, like, I remember Phoebe getting scared when Gabe Kidd had Michael Oku in a really strong headlock. She thought he was proper hurting him. So how she'd react if they'd got, put somebody through glass or a light tube or something would be too, especially because ultimately they use those things because it makes people gushing in blood, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And there was blood, but it was RevPro levels of blood.
It was blood in a tasteful way.
Safe enough levels of blood.
Yeah.
I'm hoping nobody had to go to the hospital afterwards.
Yeah. Fingers crossed for them. I'm just looking at that card for that LDN wrestling event. Literally, I will say I've never heard of any person on this show. But what I find really interesting is there's a lot of companies I see do this where they do like 5 matches, and like what happens is like 3 or 4 of the people appear in multiple matches throughout the night. So like you might have like 2 in this one they had a championship defense and a championship change as the opener and main. But my favorite one that I'm looking at here is a wrestler, Giant Haystacks Jr., who is no relation, absolutely no relation
Giant Haystacks Jr.
Absolutely no relation to the Giant Haystacks, and is apparently 6'3". So
hilarious.
Oh, I love that. If that doesn't set up British wrestling at all, I don't know what. Funny as well what you were saying there about telling people. I was in the queue for Mama's the other night. I got chatting with these people and we were talking about. They were asking why I was in Cardiff and I was like, oh, I'm back here next week, and I said for wrestling, and this woman was like, oh, she's like, do you like AEW? And I was like, yeah. She was like really excited about that, and I was like, if you like AEW, I'm going to tell you about this other company who's going to be here the following day. I was like, you know Mercedes Moné, don't you? She's like, yeah. I went, she's going to be wrestling in another event the next day. And she's like, what? I was like, this is also the company that Will Ospreay came for. Literally, they went and bought Uprising tickets there and then on their phones.
Yeah. Like it's like some people are looking at me like, oh my God, they're such a pair of shills. But actually, it's like, no, it's just we discovered it. Or I like you discovered it as a local wrestling thing.
Yeah.
I discovered it through literally stumbling across a video of Will Ospreay online. It's quite hard if you're not into independent wrestling to discover independent wrestling organically.
Mm-hmm.
Like when obviously and everyone knows, and then suddenly you see everything. But I would never have discovered RevPro if it hadn't have been for the fact that their champion was in New Japan. Yeah. I would never have discovered New Japan if I wasn't watching AEW, and I would never have watched AEW if I wasn't watching WWE.
But I think with both of us, mate, locally, knowing how our brains do work, we'd have probably, if we dived into this without having those guiding principles that we had, like for me, it was like, oh my God, this show's got Bret Hart on it. Like, this must be a big deal. Yours was, oh my God, this top guy in New Japan is holding their title. This must be a big deal. We'd have probably looked at it and gone, where do we even start with this?
Right? Yeah. Overwhelming.
I often say that it's a big part of the reason why I love the idea of getting into like comic books, but I didn't know where to start because for every character that's out there, there is
where do you begin?
Different storylines, there's different writers, there's everything where it goes like in this universe it's this, in this universe it's this, and I'm literally just making the connection now that indie wrestling is the same. Sapphire Reed in RevPro is different. Sapphire Reed in Eve, who is different. Sapphire Reed in Chaos.
Yeah.
Like there's this multiverse element to it that you've got to deal with, and knowing where to start is a big thing. Let's move on to London because our one.
We do the same thing.
Yeah, mate.
We do the one-liners for the London show.
Yeah. Our one-liners that turned into paragraphs from us both. Like we are. I love the way that we try. We do say this and we try this, but we fail because hey, we're a pair of marks. Right.
We are, mate.
Let me just get to the card. Okay, I've got.
Should we start with the one that was whilst you load up the card? Shall we start with the one that was added this morning?
Go for it, mate.
Kelly Six and Josh James, presumably with David Francisco, versus Danny Black and Taylor James.
Yes. Yeah,
I like this.
So do I, mate. I think this is going to be an interesting one. I just want to look up a stat maybe because No, actually, no, I'm talking shit already. I was going to be like, maybe this is going to be a case that CPF going to lose, and this will be one of their first tag losses of the year. No, it fucking isn't. I'm
They've lost a lot.
completely blank you on that. Yeah,
I do think though that this is going to be this is going to tie in to the kind of growing conflict between Danny Black and Joe Lando,
yeah,
because Joe Lando is in the singles match with Nino Bryant for the title.
hmm
So if it was me booking this, I would not have Joe with Danny and Taylor James. So they've got the numbers disadvantage. And then Francisco will interfere some way to make sure that Kelly Six and Josh James win, so that our new stable have a victory to begin with. And then Danny Black in his post-match comments can rue the fact that, maybe if Joe had been there to back him up, that wouldn't have happened, but he's busy in his championship match, which he used one of our trophies for.
hmm
I like that. And then I very much see Nino beating Joe, but it being announced that Nino's effectively going to defend his title against all of the cruiserweights in some big mad match next week, which can put Danny and Joe face to face in a match against each other at Uprising without having to do a big single CPF kind of melodramatic clash between them.
Oh, I was just thinking. I was like, do we do a cruiserweight like big schmoz like everyone's just in at the same time, or do we do it like a gauntlet?
I'd do it as a gauntlet
So would I.
personally. But what I would learn from the gauntlet they did at High Stakes, which I didn't like at all, I would learn that you need. Oh no, hold on. I would do it as a gauntlet. Oh, no, okay. Actually, no. I'm going to contradict myself here, actually, because a gauntlet is first person to pin, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And the problem that I had with High Stakes was there was way too many people, and there wasn't enough confidence that they could all be in the ring at the same time. So they ended up going off and doing all sorts of different stuff and lots of sitting around, which I want to avoid. So, do we, instead of doing it as a gauntlet, do it as a elimination match, so that you can have like two people start, one person joins every minute, but eliminations can take place and it's the last person standing. So it's more like, is that how the casino gauntlets work?
I think
Or are they first fall?
Casino is the first fall, but what you could do is you could put
So this would be more like Aztec Warfare from Lucha Underground, where you knew there were 21 people.
Yeah.
And it was whoever was in the ring last.
Yeah. You could almost make what you could do is you just call it a Revolution Gauntlet, right? And then have Revolution tag rules like pinfall, submission, chucking over the top rope or something.
Is that how the Revolution Gauntlet worked in the tag, the Trios Grand Prix last year? That was elimination, wasn't it?
I can't remember, mate, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was elimination until you had one team left.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I do it. And I'd have the eliminations take place. You don't need all 21 people in the ring at the same time. I'd have it so you never have more than 4 or 5 in the ring at the same time.
Yeah.
Just get those eliminations in quickly. There can be a roll up. There can be over the top rope. There can be, someone having 2 submissions on them at the same time, so they tap out. Who cares who eliminated them?
Yeah.
They're eliminated. Like, get through people, and then, Nino surviving it at the end, because it's really interesting. Nino is he is now only behind Robbie X and Michael Oku as the most prolific cruiserweight champion of all time.
Yeah, it is.
And I think there's some legs in having Nino chase Michael Oku's record.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to have him beat the record. You don't even have to have him get close to the record. But by him starting to say, I want that record, adds a bit of cockiness to Nino Bryant, because it's like, okay, I'm the champ. I won the J Cup. What's next? Well, I want to let's see if I can beat that record. I'm halfway there. I've got 8 successful defenses. Oku, I think, had 16. Like, who's next for me? And then also when they decide to change the belt, because they've started telling that story, there will be people that are thinking, well, he's going to beat this guy, isn't he? Because he's going to get to the 16th championship match and then lose it, or he's going to beat Oku's record and then you just have him lose on the 10th one. And it's like, oh shit, didn't see that coming.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, look, to get into the top 10 like days held with the belt, he's only got 116 days to get 117 days to beat and knock ELP out that top 10.
And also, but that's mad, isn't it? So he's not in the top 10 for most days with it, but he's in the top 3 for most defenses.
Yeah. And look, you look at some of the names of people that for just the amount of times he's held the belt, these are the people he's held longer than: Jordan Breaks, Neon, Luke Jacobs, Curtis Chapman, Connor Mills.
Yeah.
They're people that he surpassed. Assuming he gets a win here and he keeps the title next week, he'll bypass Pete Dunne. These are the sorts of levels.
And he's defended it more than Ospreay defended it. He's defended it more than any of those guys you just mentioned defended it. More than ELP. He's done really, really well. I feel like Nino Bryant's been one of the standout performers of the year in terms of what I expected 2025 to look for him, given how 2024 ended for him.
Yeah.
This is levels above where I thought he'd be at this stage of the year.
100%, mate. 100%. Yeah, he's been one of the MVPs of the year.
I thought he would be in a similar position to Shane Hook and James Ellis and Taylor James. One of these guys that we see come in and out and come in and get beat and go again for a while. But he's done the Leon Cage, Jay Joshua. I've come in and I'm staying in, but you'd argue even more successfully than those guys
100%.
In terms of although you'd say Jay Joshua's probably been he's going to be in the main event of Uprising.
Yeah.
But in terms of Nino has won a tournament and a championship, just like Jay, but held the championship way longer than Jay did. So objectively, statistically, a more successful year for him.
Yeah, agreed. I think that the team of Kelly Six and Josh James, why could I forget his name there for a second? I think they win. I think that goes into that. Moving on to the big tag match then. Greedy Souls, Rising Tide, One Called Manders versus Young Guns, Robbie X, Will Cave, and RKJ. I found this quite interesting, and I understand why, because of the Wales connection. But I did love that, even though in my mind Greedy Souls did the more heelish thing, they are aligned on the babyface team, but again, that's just where my brain works, sort of thing.
I've always liked that about Revolution tag matches, though, that they've never had it out and out. These are your 100% baby faces versus your 100% heels. It's always been a little bit like, well, here are some guys versus here are some guys, and they've all got common enemies. Like Leon Cage and Shane Hook would like to get a little bit of own back on Young Guns from last week.
Yeah.
Greedy Souls want Young Guns, so makes sense for them to be on the same team. Obviously, we know that it's canonised that Shane Hook and Leon Cage are proteges of Greedy Souls, so it makes sense that they're on the same team. But don't expect Greedy Souls to be coming out and shaking hands and high-fiving people. I like that immensely. I'm led to believe that this isn't the main event. And so I like that as well. A Revolution tag doesn't have to be the main event of a show. So I would imagine this will be the main event of the first half.
I would imagine, yeah.
And it feels fresh. We had too many Revolution tags last year. It was a little bit like Andy Quilden's new toy, and it's a good way of building some stories, but it can become a little bit lazy if it's like done too much. This year, I think this is only the second one. I can only think of one other, and that was earlier on in the year. So it feels fresh in that sense. Plus, then when you look at the people in it, first time we've seen Greedy Souls this year, so that's fresh. Shane Hook's very fresh. Leon Cage is still fresh in terms of like Portchester Hall. Have only seen him the 2 times. So like that's all working. That should be really good fun. But it's also, I got to a point where I kind of like, Revolution Tag, that's going to be great fun, but it's not going to be like a main event match that I go away talking about for ages.
Yeah.
We can still have that because we've got Joe Lando and Nino, and we've got Shaw, Liam Slater, and Harry Milligan. Yeah. Either of which could main event, given like I'd imagine the main event will be Nino versus Joe for the prestige of the title, unless there's going to be a big angle involving Shaw after that match, and they want that to be the go home moment. So
I would agree.
Yeah. It's a well-balanced card. I like it.
Yeah, one of the things I just wanted to give a shout out to Leon Cage. He has now been successful in having both AEW and WWE steal his move with top-level talent. So his Stomp to the Future, I don't know if you saw it, about a year ago, the Young Bucks did it. This week just gone was Dragon Lee and AJ Styles. So, into a Styles clash. Mate, I say steal. I use that term very loosely. They've obviously seen inspiration from it. They've taken it, but how fucking awesome is that for a kid of Leon's age, for the Young Bucks, Dragon Lee, and AJ Styles to be taking his move? And not only that, but they're all doing it as a tag team. He fucking does it himself. Good on the lad.
Yeah.
I was so happy to see that influence going out there. Right, Cameron Kai versus Jay Joshua. I think is going to be a lot of fun. I think obviously Jay's going to win it, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, like this. This could be all sorts of different matches depending on what they want it to be. Like they could go out and just batter the shit out of each other for 10 minutes. They could. You could. I'm not saying that. I mean, they definitely won't. I'm going to say that now. They definitely won't. But you could have Jay Joshua go out and murder Cameron Kai. Because of the fact that Cameron's finding his feet in the new role as like the young understudy of the Slater Dojo. I'm not saying that's the best idea, but it's an option. I don't think they will do it because RevPro rarely do squashes, and when they do, it's certainly not with established people. You could have this be a heavily influenced match by Liam Slater and the Slater Dojo, and it be like Jay having to overcome the odds. Like there's lots that could be done with it. I like the fact that we've got this running thread through the card of the Slaters have the numbers and Jay and Shaw are on their own. And Jay and Shaw had the option of coming together for this card, but Jay refused.
Yeah.
So will Jay's inability to put bygones aside and tag with Shaw come to bite him on the arse, ultimately at Uprising? Will Shaw's, I'm a man, I can do it all by myself, I've never needed anybody, come back to bite him on the arse? And Leon ends the year exactly like he told us he would by becoming undisputed British heavyweight champion.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, mate. Very interesting. Emerson Jane versus Nina Samuels.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by this a lot in the sense that I think this will be the first time I've ever seen Nina Samuels work babyface. I feel like she was ejected from the Cutthroat Collective. This is a bit of a strange tidbit, but you know when there are people talking to wrestlers at merch and it's very clear that the person talking to them is so immersed in what they're watching that that the wrestler fully stays in character.
Yeah.
Because quite clearly that person's, I don't know whether it's their understanding or their grasp of what they're watching, but they completely believe everything that they're seeing.
Yeah.
Nina was very much like why would I ever want to work with those women again after they did that to me? So it was very much like Nina's done with the Cutthroat Collective. You will never see her wear red again. You will not see her involved with the Cutthroat Collective again. That was a kicking out. So we're going to have to see. We can't just have Nina come out like high-fiving everybody, but we can start to do that. We can start to have and Emerson James so easy to dislike that she's a perfect person to have face her. So yeah, I imagine this will be first half. I don't see it leading to a match for either of them. Uprising. Are we still getting Alex Windsor versus Sapphire Reed at Uprising?
You know what? I was thinking the same thing, because you kind of think that you would, but I'm wondering now whether we get Alex Windsor versus Sapphire Reed at the first Portchester in the new year.
Yeah, I feel like I know that there's a lot going on that people won't be aware of in RevPro at the moment, like just real life shit. So there's injuries, there's illnesses, there's cards that are having to change, there's people moving house, there's clearance sales at Shop RevPro that were so ridiculously taken advantage of that there's hundreds and hundreds of trips to the post office a week. Loads and loads going on. The Uprising card is still quite sparse. We know about half of it, and there's a massive question mark over one of those matches, because is Michael Oku going to come out today and say he can't wrestle Connor Mills next week? Potentially. So I feel like we're going to get a lot from today's card that is going to confirm what's happening for next week with Uprising. And I suspect if we're getting Sapphire Reed and Alex Windsor, we will find that out today, even though on paper there's no Cutthroat Collective match. The fact that Nina, they could, if they want to, pivot and change the approach to say, okay, we need to set up Nina and we need to set up Alex and Sapphire, so we'll include that in the Nina stuff.
Yeah,
it'll work. Might not be in plan A, but it'll work.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, so what I would say as well, if they are going down that route with Alex and Sapphire, the other thing, I'm not sure how much you're aware. I believe
She's not here, is she?
Sapphire and Anita are both out in America at the moment.
They're with Bailey, aren't they?
Yeah, along with Chantal Jordan as well. Like,
and Jane Nero.
Yes, yeah, amazing.
So good to see that she's fully recovered.
Yeah, amazing opportunities for all of them. Like, absolutely deserved as well. Like, earned opportunities for all of them. But like,
what we could still set it up just by having Alex there.
Exactly. Yeah.
You could have Lizzie and Mercedes there.
Yeah.
Or Lizzie or Mercedes there, and then it just needs to be the backstage comments, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's all we need.
Yeah.
So yeah, up for that one.
Mills versus Buzzard.
Yeah. I think the match will be strong. I think Mills will twist Buzzard and bend him like a pretzel, which I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm most interested, if I'm honest, in how Mills is involved in the Oku addressing his future.
Now I'm going to get onto that last. So if you've got anything to say,
so I think that for the fact that Mills is on the card is presenting to us that there is, it's making us think about the Mills and Oku interactions. It's a little bit reminiscent of when Ethan Allen addressed his future the early last year, and he came out on his crutches. and Mills tore into him. I think the match will be good. I think that the dynamic works a little bit better than last week's with Manders and Buzzard. We talked about Buzzard a lot earlier, so I think this kind of ties in with that. Yeah. Where does this go for him? I'm keen to see. Is he frustrated at his losses? Is he kind of like, it's fine, like we're on the climb back. There's going to be more losses than there are wins, but that's okay. That's part of the journey. Like, I'm just looking for something that tells me, give me the first breadcrumbs, I suppose.
Yeah, with you on that. Liam Slater and Harry Milligan versus Shah Samuels. I see this one as kind of like you were saying earlier, like, could this bite Shah in the arse? I'm saying no. I think Shah gets the win quite emphatically over Harry. That's where I think we go with this one.
But do the Slaters get to put the numbers after the match on Shah? That could be where it bites him on the arse.
Exactly, yeah.
But yes, I see either, I feel like for this match, we're going to get a little bit of our cake and we're going to get to eat it. Because we're either going to have the Slaters beat Shah, but Shah still gets to stand tall after, with the inevitable coming together after the match.
Yeah.
Or we're going to have Shah beat the Slaters, so he gets the big W before Uprising, but the Slaters have got the numbers advantage because Cameron Kite comes out and joins them, and they give Shah a bit of a kick in. Yeah. Is Kid Lycos working anywhere today? And Kid Lycos 2?
Are they? I don't know, mate.
That's a curious little one for me. Do we see anything from them today? Just because that's very much been a nicely plotted story throughout the Portchester Hall shows. I'm not saying it's necessary today, but it could be a nice little addition. Although there's a hell of a lot of wrestlers on today's card, so in terms of saving the cost, it might be one where it's you know what, we'll save a few quid by letting the Lycos boys stay at home, and we'll have that in Southampton or something.
I'm not seeing anything that like obvious, but that's not to say that they're not around, right? Like,
no, they could be anywhere, couldn't they?
Exactly.
They could be in a bingo hall in Toaster.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
Exactly. And what we both think, I think, it will be the main event: Joe Lando versus Nino Bryant.
Yeah, Nino's got to win.
Yeah.
The match has potential to be. I think it will be the match of the night for 90% of the crowd. I'm looking forward to it. I was lower on their first match than everybody else seemed to be, and I know why. It's because of the fact that cruiserweight wrestling leads to more spots than heavyweight wrestling does, and that's not my jam.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to watching this one and to see how it varies from the first one. But I also know, like 100%, when this match finishes, everybody will be saying how great it was, how much they loved it, what a showcase of two outstanding young British talents we have. So I'm never going to be like the old man moaning in the corner, Jim Cornetting. But I appreciate the fact that just because something is not my cup of tea, if it's popular with 90% of the fans, then it's working, right?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
You're not trying to please one person, and I will get plenty. And like I say, I enjoyed the first match. It wasn't my match of the night. Tonight this could be, but then again, if it's not, there's plenty of other things here which could be.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's going to be a very good match. I think it's going to have a different kind of pacing to like a spot field match. I think there's going to be a lot more drama involved. I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's gonna be great. I think it could have the potential to seal the show. For me, this one and Emerson versus Nina are the two potential standouts for match of the night for me, because I think to this day, Nina still gets really underestimated for how technical she can get.
Oh
Being
man,
being in there with someone like Emerson, and look, I was that person a couple of years ago, right? So I include
yeah.
myself in that. But I think, yeah, I think we could be in
Getting
for.
to getting to spend the day with her at the Spinebuster taping was such a privilege because, like, listening to her put matches together with people
Mm,
and coaching people and talking through people's stuff. Like, she is a like she is someone who could retire from in ring tomorrow, and you would like the WWEs of the world would be foolish not to sign her immediately as an agent,
yeah,
and have her coaching. Like, and if they brought back a UK PC, she'd be one of the first people signed to it for training people, because it's unreal just how easy she made it for everybody else and how much they learned from it, and
yeah,
how much, because it was a young group of people on that Spinebuster taping, but the respect that Nina had from everybody was unreal, and rightfully so. Yeah, absolute privilege. I'm not sure what steals the show for me at all. I think that this card is a good card. I don't think it's a outstanding card,
yeah.
but that intrigues me because I've always said this: you can't sleep on anything because you never know what's going to happen. You know, you could have looked at the 229 card last year when the Cutthroat Collective debuted and been like, yeah, I'm going to give this one a miss, and then regret it.
Yeah.
You could, the Sheffield show where Will Ospreay caved Leon Slater's head in, like the Southampton show where David Francisco turned on JJ Gale. Like, there's always a reason to. It's more than just the 7 matches on the card
Yeah.
that you're paying attention to. And matches take me by surprise. You get some matches where you're like, okay, yeah, I think that would be one thing, and then it turns out to be something completely different. So I'm thoroughly looking forward to it, as I always do. But I'm also looking forward to the fact that I am looking for one of these matches to go out and steal the show.
Yeah.
And I don't know which one it's going to be. So
Nice. Yeah.
let's find out.
So the final bit then, Dave, that we're going to cover. Michael Oku addresses his future. What is he going to
Yeah. Well, I think he's going to say that he's fully fit to face Conor Mills next week, and that those two are going to beat the shit out of each other in the ring.
Nice.
I feel like that is what's going to happen. I feel like he might Mark Henry it up a little bit. I would not be surprised at all if he comes out wearing something pink. There is a niggling worry in the back of my head that says that this is going to be, we can't do that match, because that's the Uprising match I'm most excited for. Like, the Shah Leon J match has the biggest consequence for me. Although I do think the fact that, we were talking about it the other day, Mercedes and Rio. Does your opinion on Mercedes retaining change ever so slightly now she's lost one belt?
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because and like
It adds more jeopardy for me.
We'll get into it properly next week, but yeah, like we had that chat, and I was like, there is no way in hell that Mercedes is losing that title until she loses her title in AEW, and then we have that, and I'm like, oh, okay. So the jeopardy counter can
interesting. Yeah. But I feel like Mills and Oku is the match with for me, the biggest ceiling, because there's so much history to play with. Like, and they're both so good. Like, when you think, like, potentially we've got, hopefully, I'll say potentially, hopefully we're definitely going to get that match, and that Oku's not going to come out and say he can't. So if we get that match and we also get Rio, like fucking Rio versus Mercedes Moné, and then you've got the big heavyweight title match, and then just to fill out the card, Greedy Souls and Young Guns and RKJ and Manders and probably a massive cruiserweight match and probably Sapphire Reed versus Alex Windsor. Like, there's Uprising has potential to be absolutely wicked. I hope that it isn't do you know what? The knee injury is worse than we thought it was going to be. I'm going to have to go away. Even if it was, I mean, worst case, he comes out and says, yeah, like, I need a year. Like, it's like a Lucia Lee injury where she didn't realise the extent of it until she saw a specialist. And then it was like, fuck, I'm gone for a long time. But even if it was they think I need another month off, you're like, shit, that's the big Mills match gone. And obviously, Andy Quilden is like cursing his own luck for the fact that there would have been a build for this Oku and Mills match that hasn't been able to happen because Oku's not been able to do anything.
Yeah.
So, and whilst it gets away with it because it's like, it's Oku and Mills, we don't need to add anything to it. We know the history. Mm-hmm. There are people that have come into RevPro more recently than we have, even though we're not like OG. Well, I'm not by any means like an OG RevPro fan. But there are people that won't know why this match matters so much. Yeah. So that's wrestling, isn't it? Yeah. That's life. Plans have to change.
Yeah. And the thing that you could say, like, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, I'm not saying this is the right thing to have done. You could say, well, in lieu of no Michael Oku there to help build this, they could have built it through videos and stuff like that. But the problem you've got is if what you said could happen does happen and Michael Oku can't, then you're building and building and building up to a match that doesn't happen. And you don't want to do that either. That's really important to manage expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'd imagine that there's also probably a middle ground of they just don't know if Oku can wrestle next week.
Exactly. And that's,
until today, they've not been able to make a decision. Like, it could be that even as early as last week, it was still 50-50. Like, it's like a late fitness check test for a footballer, isn't it? Like, and you don't want to be advertising a match that might or might not happen. And then it might be that today it's a case of, well, we still don't know if he's going to be fit next week, but we're going to have to pull the match because we can't take the risk. Mm-hmm. Or he's just got the all clear from the doctors. We're good to go. Let's get this kicking again. Let's have Mills come out and do something hideous. I feel like Amira will be heavily involved in it. And of course she should be because she's so fucking good at it. Mm-hmm. It's a really, really intriguing part of the card. And actually, like, it's probably one of the things I'm most excited for.
Yeah.
And that's the power of promos, isn't it? And that's the power of angles and the outside of the in-ring storytelling, the other, I get a bee in my bonnet so much when people talk about storytelling in wrestling because there are so many people that think storytelling is only done through talking and they don't realize that it's happening in the ring as well. Mm-hmm. But it is a big part of it.
Of course
You've got to be able to talk the talk, haven't you?
Yeah, you've got to be able to make people feel, and you shouldn't be able to make people feel just by what you do in the ring. You should make them feel by your words, your expressions, everything. Something that these guys absolutely are masters of doing. To go off tangent slightly, right? Like, we know how well-rounded Amira is, right? If you haven't seen it, I implore you to go onto Twitter and look up the clip from Pro Wrestling Eve this last week, right? Amira's Got Talent, right? It is a comedy. It's a comedy section, right, where she can go out and do all of that, right? And she draws everyone into her with what she can do in a comedy sense. But we've seen what happens, like, when she is, like, we can all imagine an Amira face, right? When Michael Oku is kicked out of something, or a move that he might not be able to kick out of, we can see that, right? She is a master of storytelling in whatever way she has. Michael is just as good as well. He can do all of that as well. Yeah. So the two of them together in that ring, with something
And
like this, with the stakes behind
both
it.
of them have unbelievable chemistry with Mills.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is
Like
going to be
they could all stand in the ring and tell a story without saying a single word just by looking at each other.
yeah.
Because the eye contact between Oku and Mills will tell you one story, then the eye contact between Amira and Mills will tell you the different story. And I think Amira is more frightened of Mills than Oku is.
Yeah.
And I think Amira is more frightened of what Mills can do to Oku than Oku is, because Oku's got this kind of Superman complex. Like he's the glass half full, like half full. Like it'll be all right on the night. I can do it. There's nothing that I can't achieve.
Yeah.
Whereas Amira's got the you are only human. You have only got 2 legs. You have only got 2 arms.
Yeah.
Like it's and it's one of my favorite stories because it's one of the longest running RevPro stories, and I've been able to see almost all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be an interesting announcement. I'm going to add a slightly different take because look, we've addressed what the more likely takes are here. So I'm just going to add an extra little thing to end on a bit of positivity. Michael's going to come out. He's going to say that he's not sure whether he should wrestle. Mills is going to bait him into wrestling. And at some point throughout this, Michael Oku and Amira announced they've been signed by AEW.
I knew you were going to say that.
There we go. There we go. Right, Dave.
What a way to finish.
What a way to finish, mate. It's going to be a good show today. Like I said, I'm not going to be there for it. I'm going to be at the 1865. But I have also realised that by the time I get through to Southampton, I'm probably just going to sit in my car, checking the queue out before I go and stand in the queue. I might just stick on RevPro on demand. The best £7 something in the business.
£7.40.
£7, yeah, per month for the amount of shows that you get. I'm just going to sit and watch this while I'm queuing, while I'm waiting to get in there. It's going to be so weird queuing outside the 1865 for something that's not RevPro. But, mate, this is going to be an interesting one to look back on, an interesting one to slightly talk about next week when we get into an Uprising, I was about to say review, not an Uprising review, an Uprising preview. We are going to record on what night next week, Dave?
Thursday,
and we're going to release on Friday. Perfect.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff.
So we should, you'd imagine we'll either have a full card by then, or it's going to be pretty obvious what the full card is. We're just waiting for the match graphics to confirm it. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot to talk about, mate. I'm looking forward to it. Nice way to end the week.
Absolutely, mate. Right. Till next week. I'll catch you later.
Cheers, bro.
Bye, mate.